Hello and welcome back to Beauty Behind the Brand, your host, Nicole Manion. I am so excited for this episode because if you're thinking about getting into the beauty industry and or branding into something different within the beauty industry, I'm going to go over some great points today that are all about starting a brand from scratch, really niching into the beauty brands, but this can also be other businesses as well. And if I were to start my business all over again, these are some of the key takeaways I would implement in my business if I was starting from scratch. So let's tune into this episode. Make sure to have a paper and pen and get ready to take some notes. So as the intro said, we're going to talk about starting your brand from scratch. And I think this is something that really stems from your why. I know if you listen to other podcasts about entrepreneurship or read other books just about like high performing or leveling up, you really want to tune into your why. These are some of the really important things that I think kind of gets a really good base level for when starting your business and something that keeps the longevity of your business going. I know burnout and all the things happen as entrepreneurs and we know, but I think something to stay true to yourself as the years go on. I look at some of my friends who have started businesses, but I can just tell that they don't sincerely have that true meaning and mission and the why behind what they're doing, and their business might only last a couple of years. So if you're looking to have longevity and inspiration and really start to have kind of that personal experience and drive and passion with your brand, these are some of the key things I would personally implement and some of the really important things to move forward and even come back to. If you have a business, I think this is a great exercise to do if you already have a business, and some of the things you can look and kind of reflect on and see if you could be doing these things better. Like I said, we are going into our 9th year of business with our spa and now into our 5th year with our beauty brand. And some of these points are things that I'm starting to reflect on as well. Even just client rapport or things that I need to do differently within my marketing and strategy. And times change constantly with campaigns, scaling up, challenges and lessons you've learned throughout the years. So some of the key things, like I'm saying, is your background. So let's discuss kind of the inspiration behind what's starting the brand, the personality, the experience, the passion. What kind of drove you to make these decisions to start your specific company? Now, I know this podcast says a lot about your beauty brand. So whether that's a product or a spa, or maybe a coaching business within spa, there's so many different things that really go into why you're doing what you're doing. And coming back to that and really honing into that. Personally, my mom was a hairstylist, if you haven't heard this in previous episodes, but my mom was a hairdresser and I always liked how her clients felt after getting their hair done. As a little girl, I would always sit in her hair salon and chat away. I always had the gift of gab, as she always says, and I would just sit there and chat with clients. And I just feel like that was the whole part of kind of building that rapport and that personal experience and how people felt and that before and after feeling that they would have getting a beauty service done. Now, personally, hair was not my expertise, but going into beauty pageants was kind of my opening doors into the beauty industry. And when I would get my lash extensions done, or I'm a severe nail biter, so when I would get my nail extensions done or my gel nails, that was something that I was like, wow, I have a whole new confidence in that now. I even look at that within some of the different things when it came to hair extensions. That was definitely something that I did when I was in high school as well. So really knowing what you can do to kind of amplify someone's natural beauty or that confidence that they need. And that was also something that I really struggled with growing up, was kind of that self-confidence. I was teased and bullied a lot in public school. And then I kind of became my own person. I think because I did kind of find the beauty industry a little bit earlier on in my high school days. I was definitely a tomboy, but I was wearing hair extensions while water skiing. Like I really definitely found like that happy medium in between of who I was. But I used tools like makeup to help myself kind of become the person I wanted to be. Even waxing, I definitely would get teased for like having hairy arms or having a mustache and all the things growing up. So that was something that I definitely explored earlier on in my like high school years, was waxing my upper lip, for example, and giving myself that confidence and telling my other friends about it and how it made me feel. So that's kind of my inspiration and my story about how I got into the beauty industry. And then with the beauty pageants and like really getting into that world after high school definitely made me realize that that's something that I needed in my life. Even prom makeup, I was always the one doing prom makeup. with all my friends and curling everyone else's hair. And then I would save the last hair to do would be myself. So I was always putting other people first and always wanting to make everyone else feel good around me. And that's a whole part of the beauty industry. I don't think I've ever met a hairstylist, an esthetician, or someone in the beauty industry that isn't a people pleaser. Hey there, beauty enthusiasts. Are you ready to take your skills to the next level and dive into the world of lash lifts, tints, and brow laminations? Look no further than Muskoka Beauty online courses. With Muskoka Beauty, you'll learn the artistry of lash lifts and tints and master the technique of brow laminations, all from the comfort of your own home. Plus, each course comes with a full kit included, ensuring you have everything you need to succeed. And here's the best part. Our listeners get an exclusive offer. Use promo code podcast10 to save 10% off any online course at muskoka.com. So why wait? Elevate your beauty game today with Muskoka Beauty online courses. Visit muskoka.com and enroll now. Or someone who doesn't want the good in someone or make someone feel good. So that's kind of what the background of your business or your kind of business plan, let's say, within your starting from scratch, and really realizing that that's truly why you're in this industry. Now, if you were working in a different industry, let's say you're working in like some type of financial charity thing, it could totally be a different thing with the way you think of money or something, for example. So really kind of hone in on your story. Also, you will get asked what got you into the beauty industry, and make sure you have that kind of already programmed in your brain, your story. Now, for myself, I am obviously on a podcast. I get interviewed quite a bit as well. And I feel like now when I go to do even public speaking, I have this script already in my head. We should know our stories better than anyone else, and really making sure that, yes, it might sound like it's repeated constantly, but it's a script that you're going to fall back on when you're not sure. Like when I get asked to do public speaking, I feel like I don't even come prepared, because I always say, I wing it. Like I do a lot of things in life, but if anyone should know my story, it's me. And really honing into that and being really open and vulnerable about that, of your background and why you got into that. Some of the best conversations I have are with our youth and talking about the beauty industry and how I didn't know what I wanted to get into, and not being that academic with school. It kind of opens that door to them and asking more questions as well. So it could be helping someone else get into the beauty industry, or if you're a business owner, getting someone else to come work for you, or bringing them underneath your wing and wanting to inspire them to grow in the beauty industry. So that's kind of the background part of starting your business from scratch. Honing in on that why, the background, and then your brand identity. So that would be more of like exploring how to define and develop a unique brand, kind of like inquiring what like kind of stands out in the community and the competitiveness of the industry. So like your brand identity, like if you were to open up, let's just talk about brick and mortar, for example, right now. So let's say you're wanting to open a spa or salon, and you realize like, oh, all the other spas and salons in town are like very kind of like, I think of here in Muskoka where we are, a lot of the spas and salons, let's say 10 years ago, before I had opened my spa, were very kind of more rustic vibe, the Muskoka vibe, and like more wood accents, maybe like more darker furniture. Also, I mean, we are very limited in spa furniture here in Canada as well, but that was kind of something that I thought a lot about, was I wanted kind of that light and airy. I wanted a more modern spa. I wanted to implement a lot more like, I loved like interior design. So that was something that I wanted to implement more of, like having some funky wallpapers or making sure you had some color kind of brought in without making it feel like too feminine or too masculine, but making it kind of that playful, youthful place for someone to come. And that's something we play a lot off as well, as kind of having that youthful energy when coming into our environment, but in exploring kind of what defines that unique brand. What is, when someone thinks of your brand, what is something that they're going to think, or that feeling that they're going to get when coming into your environment? And also just having come to something totally different, like really think outside the box. I remember when I was in beauty college, I'm not sure if Danny, our editor, is gonna remember this story either, but I remember in the business part of our aesthetics program, the owner of the school taught that program, and she was saying that one spa that she always admired and always falls back on, like creating that brand identity, was this woman. I believe she was from Jamaica, but she made I think it was like in the GTA or something, but she literally made it feel like you're in Jamaica. She played like all the vibes, all the good feel good music. Even the colors were so vibrant walking into her treatment rooms. Some of the products she used were right from Jamaica. Some of the different things that they implemented, having a lot of natural plants, like different macrame things hanging from the ceilings, just like that thing that made her different, and people would come to her because of that. But then also still catering it to people to feel comfortable, like your everyday people, to be able to come in and just feel that little bit of excellence, that luxury vibe, and their escape from reality is what we're all about. So, and honing in on being Canadian, that's what I feel like is a huge part of our business, as well as we really try to support other local businesses. All of our skincare products are either like distributed within Canada, and then all of our boutique items are all Canadian as well. There's just like so many things. Even our wax company, we support another female entrepreneur there, Lindsay from Lycon. Like there's just so many things we do to try to create kind of that brand awareness and support local as much as possible. So then you're going to get into like your market research. This is another part, kind of talking about your brand identity at the same time, but you want to highlight the importance of like conducting a market research underneath targeting demographic trends and competitors. So once again, try to implement something that's going to make you different, something that's going to make you stand out. Really do your research before opening a spa or salon. Look into parking availability, signage, visibility is huge. If you're kind of tucked into like an alleyway or something, or like a side street, how are people going to be able to see your sign on that main street? Whether that's if your town allows like a sandwich board, or having an additional signage that's able to have an arrow so people know where to go, or even parking if there isn't parking right available, even having it accessible for people who aren't able to walk, who have mobility issues, that kind of thing. Update your Google Maps, your Google My Business. That's another huge thing, making sure you have all those things available when people Google you. But the importance of really doing that research, even your service list, make sure you're looking at what other services people are offering. I know on previous podcasts I've said that with competitors, but like you don't want to like feel like you're following them constantly and like getting influenced by the things and decisions they're making, but you still have to do market research. If we bring in a new service, I want to be researching to see if anyone else in our area is using that machine or that program or the services, like all the different things, because there might be pros and cons of both of that. But you want to create something within your demographic. We're also an elderly community here. For example, we have a lot of retirees. So I really need to make sure that we're wheelchair accessible, that we're all on one level, that we have pedicure chairs that are available for our clients to get up and down into, that we have a helping hand for when they do come in, someone that can help them into the front door, but really marketing it that makes you different within your competitors. So really take some time, do even some like pros and cons of different things that other businesses are doing. Go in and even visit some of the other businesses too. I do a lot of market research when I'm in Toronto. I use that as an excuse to go do services, but it is important. There's things, even at some of the different spas we've been to internationally, I think of different things that they say or how they perceive themselves, their language, how even the tone when you're kind of doing that research, seeing what kind of communication style you want at your spa or salon. If you want it to be more relaxed or if you want it more high-end and proper, those are all the things you need to know. Even when it comes to hiring, what kind of hiring policies do you need in place for when you do hire? That is something I feel like that is so missed when people are hiring and onboarding. Are you hiring that person because it's convenient, or are you hiring that person because it actually makes sense for your business? That is, sometimes people just hire for bodies. And I've definitely done that in the past as well. And I'm really starting to realize that sometimes less is better, because if we do go through a slower time like we are this winter, it is very important to be able to have those full hours for the girls that are there, and making sure that that market research is you're keeping those clients and that kind of expertise and that training and everything is up to your standard of when it comes to competitors and trends and the demographic within your area. So now let's go into product development. I feel like I get on these tangents and I just keep running with it, but a lot of things flow into each other, right? So even your product development. So this is like going into the high quality products, including your like formulas, testing, packaging. So this is more like a product line, but it still does go into your brick and mortar for your spa or salon, because you want to look into how like the high quality of the products. Like if you're going to be a high-end spa or salon, yes, you're going to you're going to bring in more high-end products. Also, if you're more luxury and your cost per service is higher, you're going to want a higher end retail item. And then even when it comes to formulas, people might actually associate your brand to that product line that you carry. Same with just like the testing and packaging, making sure that packaging, even with that brand, is complementary to your company brand, the colors, the aesthetic of it. And then when creating a product like we have with Muskoka Beauty, there's so many different steps that you have to go into. That is a whole other podcast, so we're not even going to go there in this one. But when it comes to bringing it into your spa or salon, making sure even your distributors, for example, are there to help support you with even content. Product development is product development, but you also still need that content to sell that product. So making sure even your social media is reflecting that high-end luxury product, including that formula, why it does what it does, the packaging, being really transparent to why you brought that product in specifically for your spa or salon, why you believe in it, maybe even having some social media of some of the girls talking about their favorite products, why they use them, why they recommend them. So there's so many things when bringing in products. That is probably one of my top questions I get asked a lot when we have our wholesaler distributor meetings is why Muskoka Beauty, for example, like why would a spa or salon bring us in? And there is a wide range why people should, but then I also believe that maybe it's just not a good fit. And I can totally be at ease with that, knowing that maybe, you know what, maybe it just doesn't work for that spa or salon. And I'm okay with that because we are kind of niching into that more luxury, high-end branding. With that being said, that's okay too. If you have a line that you absolutely love and maybe the brand colors don't match, but it's a great product, that's okay. Bring it in because you know that you believe and you trust that product. If you have any other questions about like the product development side with Muskoka Beauty and want me to do a podcast specifically around that, just let us know, because I feel like I said, that is a whole other podcast in itself, is talking about actually like product development, formulation, testing, packaging, all the steps. We did highlight that a little bit in last season, in season 2. But we can even link one of the episodes below on this one, just for you to have kind of a chance to listen to the product side of it, if that's something you're looking to get into. But when niching and starting from scratch, I feel like even your branding and your marketing, looking into different strategies, looking into hiring even like a marketing person is a great idea. Having campaigns, engagement for customers, your email campaigns even. So I've personally been doing all the stuff for Muskoka Aesthetics. As of like March, not anymore. I am handing that off to somebody because it's not my expertise. I'm kind of throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping it sticks, and I'm okay with that. I definitely do love marketing. That is one of my favorite things with owning the spa and having your own Instagram and having control. But I also found I'm kind of like scrolling to try to find answers. And then I realized like, oh my gosh, I was just on my phone for like 5 hours, not actually 5 hours, but sometimes it is 5 hours, like scrolling to find answers on how to market this facial, or just like, it's almost like doom scrolling of trying to figure out the answers. And I noticed my time efficiency just isn't there anymore. And especially with having 2 brands and now the podcast, we hired the most talented person that I found, and she's also local, which is a great bonus. And it just helps with hiring an expert. So if you're feeling overwhelmed with kind of starting your own Instagram or starting a brand, or even like we have product designers that do all their packaging for us. I used to do all the packaging with Muskoka Beauty, but like that's not my expertise, and I'm okay with that. So hiring people that can do that part for you, even hiring someone to do like once a year, we have our brand photo shoot. So she comes in, it's the same photographer every year that comes in. So then our branding and our photos are all synced together. They all look like they're part in like a harmony within our feed, as well as through the website. And it's really important, I think, to grab those people and bring them on this journey of entrepreneurship with you. You're kind of working as a team, kind of those contractors that can help you build that brand and that marketing. But knowing that it's okay, I feel like that's the biggest thing I hear too. Like part of my mentor group with Erin McNeil, for example, that's one of the biggest things that the girls talk about is like, I'm like a nurse injector, or I'm an esthetician, or this. I am not like an influencer. I'm not a brand ambassador. I'm not a social media guru. And that's okay. I feel like that's something that when becoming a hairdresser, that's not something that's like top of mind. And I think back in the day, like even when talking to my mom, like social media wasn't a thing. Yes, it's free advertising, but now you just feel like that pressure that you need to throw out content all the time. And it's okay not to. And I feel like just hiring someone, getting even onto some of these different platforms where you can hire someone, I think it's called like Dynamite Jobs or something. I was talking to another entrepreneur who works in a different space, but I was talking to him at Starbucks, and he said he's had great results from hiring like a virtual assistant who helps with all of his content. And there's different ways you can hire people. There's different programs, or even reach out to like your co-op student you might have hiring and see if they can help you with it. Or even if you're on a budget, just ask if there's someone within the high school that would be interested in bringing it on as like a summer job. There is so many things that people want to do. ChatGPT, if you don't use it, you need to use it. But branding and marketing, don't stress too much if it's not your thing, and being okay with that. It's definitely released a lot of stress for even Danny and I. Like we have McKenna helping us with the podcast, and that was something that we needed to have that discussion of like, okay, what is our priority on a day-to-day basis? We love the podcast. We want to keep it going. Danny still does all the editing and the production of the podcast, but even the outreach, getting our guests on, being able to actually have someone who's organized in that admin side and doing the social, the marketing was becoming a full-time job, and we just couldn't give it the attention it needed. And that's where I'm feeling with the spa of not being able to actually give that full client experience with the with the spa, because I feel like I have 3 kids that I'm getting like pulled towards, and I feel like my time isn't being efficient with each one of them. So now I basically have McKenna. She's a lifesaver. She's able to help us with all the admin side and just throwing content and sharing it with her. And she's able to make magic happen. And we've already been so productive this season. It is incredible the amount of amazing people we have coming on this season. Some of the people that I've like idolized for years, and we are going to have them on. And it's been great. It's just been like a really smooth process. We have systems in place, like my word of the year, being clear on what's happening. And I think it's just all happening. I think if you're too busy in the treatment room and you're not having time to actually work on your marketing and branding, it's not going to work. Like it's not something you're going to enjoy doing. And yeah, just reach out to somebody, even someone that you admire and you really like their social media. Just ask them if they'd be willing to help you out with doing some posts a couple times a week, or yeah, just ask. What's the worst thing someone's going to say is no. So that is the branding and the marketing side. Within building a team. Now, this is a loaded one. So discussing different challenges, benefits of building your team, the support of growth, like operating the brand. So with like, or you could be a solo entrepreneur. That could be another thing, right? You could own a spa or salon and it could just be you, which is totally fine. Sometimes, trust me, I think that way might be better, but who knows, right? So building a team, like I was saying earlier with like that brand identity, just creating a team and making sure that everyone's on the same like train of thought. I don't even know how to explain it. Like the same wavelength. I have hired, I don't know how many people now, and I don't know how many people I've fired or hired and come back. Like it's a lot. I feel like I go through a breakup every time that this happens, but you learn to just let it happen and you learn from it and you take something from it every time. And I think building a team and having like that support system of like those cheerleaders to cheer you on is ideal, but not everyone's going to be that cheerleader. Some people might look at you and be really kind of narcissistic of like, oh, she's making all this money, or she's just raking it in. This is happening. Like being a leader, this is another totally rant I'm going to go on, but this could be its own podcast as well. So let me know if you want this to be a podcast too. But being a leader, being an entrepreneur is probably the most loneliest thing you're ever going to experience in your life. And you're not alone. Trust me, if you ever need someone to talk to, I am here for you, because I started entrepreneurship basically I opened my spa when I had turned 21. Within the month I turned 21. And I feel like my 20s, people are like, oh, 20s is like figuring yourself out, all the things. I'm like, my 20s probably have been like the loneliest part of my life, because I feel like I'm trying to figure out me, my business, all the people that work for me, and how to just like become a person and becoming yourself and all the things. But really building that team, it's almost like finding those friends that are like those lifers, like the friends that are always going to have your back. They're going to be your cheerleaders. They want the best for you. So if you're looking to like find that all-star team, those A players, that high performer on your team, make sure you treat them well. Make sure you're keeping them around. Make sure they know how much you appreciate them, figuring out what their love language is, because you want to keep them around as long as you can. Within my team, like the team that we have currently at the spa, it's like, I know exactly, like I just know who is there, who is going to step up to the plate if someone's sick. I know who's like ready to give me suggestions. They're almost like not scared of me. They respect me, but they're not scared of me, of giving me input or bettering the brand or the spa itself. I always say to them too, like, this is something that we're having this discussion about within our assessments. It's like, if you were in my shoes as a business owner, what would you do differently? Or what's something you would implement that would help the business or that would help you as a team member? Making sure that they have your support, you're actively listening to them, and you're willing to grow with them. Hey there, beauty entrepreneurs and self-care enthusiasts. Are you looking to enhance your beauty business with a top-tier lash serum, or simply seeking to elevate your own beauty routine? Look no further than Muskoka Beauty Lash and Brow Enhancing Serum. Proudly made in Canada, our serum offers the perfect blend of nourishing ingredients to naturally enhance your lashes and define those gorgeous brows. Whether you're aiming to retail a sought-after product or enhancing your personal beauty, Muskoka Beauty has you covered. And here's an exclusive offer just for our podcast listeners. Enjoy a fantastic 15% off discount on your order. Simply use the promo code podcast15 when visiting muskoka.com to claim your savings. Again, that's promo code podcast15 for 15% off our lash and brow serum. By the way, it is our best sellers, so can't wait to see your before and afters. That is the biggest thing I feel like in the beauty industry. Of course, people are coming and going, and there's a lot of different things that happen within the industry. But like, I mean, I left another spot to open up my own. It all happens. It doesn't make me a terrible person. It doesn't make that person a terrible person. It's just they've outgrown you. But why are they outgrowing you? Did you not provide them with other solutions? Maybe they wanted more money. There was maybe some other reasons, but it's like, did you give it the time or the space to actually have that conversation? So when building a team, really, really figure out what those A players are, the different things that they have to bring to the table to benefit you and your company. Really making sure that you don't put up with, I don't know if I can say shit on this, but I don't know. I'm sure Danny will beep it out if not. But don't put up with it. Like, if someone's going to be like questioning you, like being almost like nasty, not like positive, like questioning, like, oh, maybe this would be better. Like being more like, I think we should do it this way, like being kind of nasty about it. You want to have people that respect you, like I said. But making sure that someone is looking out for the best interest and of the clients. It's the biggest thing I say to my girls is like, we need to look out for our clients. If someone is sick or if there's a family emergency or something happening, obviously I'm not making the staff come in because something has happened, but like, we need to take care of our clients. That is the biggest thing. It's like, okay, yeah, we've got to change her day around. We got to reschedule, but like, how are we going to take care of our clients? And like, I see those A players and ones that step up to the plate and want to help out. Those are the staff and the team that are in aesthetics for the right reasons. And when you are doing your team building or even going over your policies with your team, really make sure that you're really clear on that. That is, like I said, my word of the year, because clarity is going to create confidence. Being really clear on like, they know how much they're getting paid. They know how the bonus structure works. They know how their beauty benefits work. They know how, if they need time off or holidays, they know who to report to. Creating that, because I feel like when people come to work, they want to do the best they possibly can and like really setting them up for that success. Even what they're supposed to wear. I think that's the number one question I get asked in interviews is, oh, what do the girls wear here? What is your dress code? And having that really written out in your manuals. So being clear, being really open during those interviews, giving them like kind of the insight of where the business is going, where you think and your vision of where it's going to go, and letting them kind of know it's not a dead-end job. It's not just a 9 to 5. There's other occupations within your business that they could grow to. Even our spa managers, like they do a lot for me. And even some of the girls that do all our lash and brow services, they're also helping us with Muskoka Beauty in the warehouse. They're helping us fill orders. They're helping us when we're away or if we need an extra hand. So it's kind of like it becomes a family business, right? And all your team is a big family and they're all there to help you. But building a team, think of those people that you want to be around. Don't hire someone that you sit in an interview with and you like cannot stand them. Like, I feel like because we work in the service industry, we really know how to read people. And that's something you really need to use your gut for. I have hired people, even though I have not really enjoyed them during the interview and I've regretted it. And make sure you fire fast, not slow, because it's just so much time and money is wasted. You try to fix things that you know, like if someone is like 40 years old and they don't know customer service, it is really hard to get it drilled into their head. Even phone skills, like there's so many things. Like I have 2 18-year-olds that work for me, and they have probably the best customer service I've ever experienced. And like, they just came with that skill. Like, it's like amazing. And I say that to them. I'm like, people go their entire lives that don't have the people skills you have, and really compliment them on that, because that's something that they're going to they're going to remember that the rest of their lives. And they're going to roll with that of like, I am a people person, right? Like my mom's saying I have the gift of gab, right? Like I probably wouldn't start a podcast if I didn't think I could talk to anybody. Like I couldn't talk to myself for 30 minutes sitting here, right? So yeah, just build an A team, really have a team that you know that's going to build you up. Now, also on the kind of building a team, your distributors. When building a spa or salon, you really want to make sure you have good distributor channels to not only help you build your brand, but be there for customer service, kind of like different platforms that are being really easy to use, different retails, the direct sales that they have, building out kind of a spreadsheet of the different lines that you want to bring on, but different distributors. Like you could buy like wax sticks, like popsicle sticks from like 10 different distributors. But like if the one doesn't have them in stock, one's shipping's always late. They never pick up their phone. They never answer their emails. Their online website is slow. They never update it. The inventory's wrong. Like really make a list of your key distributors that you use and go through it. Like some of the distributors we use day one, we don't use anymore. We use different ones. So really make sure you know which distributors and which salespeople you like. Like, to be honest, I don't just buy the product. I'm also really investing in that salesperson or the owners of the distribution business. I know a lot of them personally. Like I think of that with Continental Cosmetics. Like I know Jake, the owner, quite well. And then same with Luma Farm now. We know Melissa and all the ladies there. Like there's a lot of kind of communication that you have with your distributors. You're really trusting them because you need them to run your business. So it's an extension of building your team. Distributors, I absolutely love our distributors with Muskoka Beauty. Like they are like with us for the long haul. And I know that, and they believe in us and they trust us. But like, I'm not going to take that for granted because they have wholesalers that are purchasing from them that love our brand. I get that. But it's like, I also feel like I have to sell myself as the brand of Muskoka Beauty, for example. So on the other hand of actually putting product into these distributor locations, right? So I remember that as like, when I'm kind of pitching people to bring in Muskoka Beauty as like wholesalers or distributors, I think of like, I honestly say to them, like, I have a brick and mortar location as well that I've had for 9 years. And like, I know how important it is if stock is sold out or if the shipping's slow, or you've sent an email and someone hasn't responded in 10 days. Like those are kind of things that I like really make sure that we nail within our business, because like, I know how it feels. I know it's like, oh, I feel like I'm just a number to somebody. Like, I don't want anyone to feel that. Even with the podcast, right? Like making sure that when we have distributors on or we have different guests on, that I know that like I've done business with them already or they've been recommended. Like it's kind of like that network within it. But yeah, distributors, do your research. That is like, and pricing, to be honest, pricing ranges so much from each one, and really make sure you're doing that checklist. Don't only go off price, but like really make sure you have a spreadsheet. Like we have a Google spreadsheet that is like our distributors, what we order from them, the cost, all the things. Make sure you're checking those shipping receipts when they come in, or like the product sale invoice, that it's actually what the cost is. We've had that before too, where the product says something on the website, but then we're getting billed for something else on the actual invoice. But if even prices change, like I know usually we up our prices every spring at the spa, but also your distributors also are going to up their prices. So really make sure you're updating those spreadsheets for your P&Ls and making sure you're staying on top of that. Now, scaling up. So if you own a spa now or a salon, this is a great part of it, is like scaling up your business, expanding product lines, like entering different markets, or even increasing products, like what your productivity is going to be moving forward. So it could be even niching down. That's okay too, but you could be scaling up even though you're niching down, right? So there's so many things within this, but it's okay to rebrand. We have rebranded. Oh my gosh. When I started, it was like black and pink with like, it was just like your typical Vistaprint style. But even the font on our menus were so small, no one could read them. We also like, I don't know, there was so many things. I feel like our signage did not complement the brand when people would come into the spa as well. And yeah, same with the menus. Like people would see the menus around town, but then like they would come into the spa and it's like a totally different vibe. Same with the website. The website was light and airy, but then our spa menus did not complement that. So make sure like when you're scaling up or you're changing things within your brand business or brand to scale up, it's okay to change. I mean, we all change. Why can't our businesses change? Even during COVID, we had to all pivot, but there's good and bad that came out of that, right? So looking at even different product lines, like we did not have like a retail boutique before, but we kind of turned the spa into that during COVID for retail sales. And it was great. We have literally kept pretty much, I would say 80% of the brands that we had. Some of them kind of fizzled out or they just don't carry certain products anymore, but it definitely has complemented our services because then we could retail some of those products, like Bush Balm, for example. Actually, that would be actually a really good guest to have on as well, is like Bush Balm, great Canadian brand, Vancouver. It is something that is so important for waxing. If you're a waxer, you know how important these aftercare products are. Why wouldn't you have that in your spa or salon, right? So having those products that can complement those services, that will actually scale you up because you're creating more retail revenue within the market. Also marketing on social media, that stuff is viral. They're creating so much content for you for that brand, for example. You can use it. You can share it. You can recycle it. It's available, right? So making sure that when you're scaling or thinking about growth, look at your numbers. This is something Erin has taught me. Even if you have had your business for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, I don't care. Revamp your profit and loss sheets, review them, your service menu, make sure you know how much each service is costing you. Because we all know we've been giving raises to our staff, but like, are we upping our prices? What's going on, right? So you got to make sure you're running a business, not a charity, because there's also some services on our menu that doesn't make sense. Like, why are we carrying these certain products or brands within our back bar when we do one a year, right? So you're buying this product, then it's expiring and it just doesn't make sense. Also things that you think that are very kind of like trendy for the time being, but you know aren't going to be around for a long time. So that's something else that I think is really important, is seeing the longevity of certain services, even products that you're bringing in, and you truly believe in it. Like, you can't sell something if you don't believe in it, right? And your team can sense that as well. So make sure, even with the distributor point too, like make sure when you are bringing in different products into your spa or salon, make sure that you actually have the salesperson coming in and doing training. We do that once a year with our team, and it's made such a difference in our retail to sales. Even our receptionist sits in on that, because if someone calls or someone's in the boutique area, well, all the estheticians are in treatment rooms. we need her to know how some of these products work. We need her to understand how hyaluronic works, right? So that is something that's also really important in scaling up, is really that clarity and that education and that confidence that your team needs in order to grow your business to the next level. For myself, I'm not in the spa that much anymore, but I have total confidence in my spa managers that they're creating an environment for my team to know that there's growth and we're going to be scaling up together as a team. And being totally open to that. Like, there was a couple months ago that I think we had like one of our biggest months for facials, and it was like, okay, wow, like we did this many facials this year. Like, really, even our open house, like we usually do a thing every year of like, how many eyebrow waxes do you think we did? Or how many lash sets or whatever, like some random service that you do, or maybe something that's like one of your highest, most popular services, and get your team to try to guess how many they did. To be honest, it's such a fun exercise to do, and our open house loves it. So like whatever service it is, the winner wins that service. So let's say it's a facial and they guess how many facials we do, or the closest to, they end up winning that. So it kind of creates that excitement around the amount of services, the growth of the business. I think you'd personally be blown away about how many like even eyebrow waxes you might offer within a year. And it's just a fun exercise to do with your team. But being transparent with your team, that's something I've definitely struggled with, of being open with finances. I feel like that's something that's very like relatable within our parents, or what it's kind of normal, especially as females. I feel like men talk about money and finance way different than women do. It's kind of like what they say about talking about how much you weigh, or this, what the scale says, right? So being more open with your team on creating goals, creating retail goals with them, getting them involved in the business as much as you can for them to scale with you. Now, challenges and lessons learned. So I feel like there's so many things that could be part of this, part of the podcast episode. But to be honest, I feel like some of the biggest and scariest decisions I made were some of the best ones. For example, I've said this before, but I'm going to say it again. Our loyalty program that we did during COVID, it was ridiculous. It was like, if you got 5 services, you got 50% off, 50% off. Like, I was just out of control, and people were getting more. If they forgot their card, then they were getting more cards, and it was just getting out of control. It was nuts. My bookkeeper basically was like, you need to stop this loyalty program because it's eating you alive. Like, you're not making any money. But I was so scared on what the feedback of the clients were going to be when we took that loyalty program away. We also upped our prices actually that same month. So we upped our prices. It was May of last year, actually. So it would be 2023, I guess. So we got rid of our loyalty program. We upped our prices within, I think it was like 2 months maybe. And I think I had one client complain, one client. And I think we have like, I don't know, 3,000 or 4,000 clients in our system. One client complained about this. To be honest, I would have been okay if that client didn't come back anyways. But I'm just saying, one of the things I lost sleep and financially lost a lot of money with was something I was so scared to get rid of. And when I did, only one person complained. So challenges and lessons learned, even firing someone, the amount of sleep I've lost about like being upset or frustrated with someone and trying to figure out why they're just not working as a team, or all the things, right? Sometimes you just got to bite the bullet and do it. And when you do, it's like this weight has lifted off your shoulders. So biggest lessons learned within really figuring out how to like build a brand from scratch, all the things would be, listen to your gut. You're going to think it's the most terrifying and scariest thing ever, but you're going to look back and actually thank yourself. I'm reading the book right now, actually, The Leap, and they're talking about that. Like the leap you take, how you're kind of have to like frame your mind differently when taking challenges or like taking that leap to do something. Some of like our high performers, like Lexi from Wax On, she was reading this book as well. And it was like something that I admire her for example, is like her opening all these franchises, now growing out into different provinces and growing the business. But like she's a powerhouse. And it's like, how do you frame your mind in order to be a high performer like that? And the biggest thing I think is not overthinking and just doing. My team says that about me all the time, which I think is hilarious, is like, I'm an action taker. Like if one of the girls writes something on the list that like needs to be done, or something like needs to be dropped off at the spa, like I'll be there. I'm also very impulse, which isn't a great thing either, but like I get it done. And that's where I think like there's almost like less thinking and more doing, but there's also like that analytic where you actually need to like digest and like look at the numbers, where I'm more of a creative person where it really is hard for me to sit there and do spreadsheets. But I have a team member that is brilliant with that. So we do that together, where she can help me with that and implement the numbers that I know already, but it makes it more seamless as a team. And also like seeing that level up, the scalability that we're doing with our team to make a better business. But it's making it happen. So if you're literally thinking like, oh my gosh, Nicole, like there's so many things to think about. I don't know if I'm like going to build a team or if I'm going to do this or this. You know what? Just take it one step at a time. I feel like entrepreneurship is so glamorized, and it's like there's so many things that people think about, but there's a lot of things that you need to actually digest it within yourself before getting to that point. So when it becomes like almost scary, like that feeling where you're like, I don't know if I can do this, like you're doing the right thing. Because when I opened my spa, I didn't know if I was doing the right thing. The amount of anxiety, sleep, I thought like all the worst things were going to happen, and none of them happened. If I believed that they were going to happen and I didn't do what I thought I could do, I don't know where I would be today. I feel like my life would be completely different. But take that leap. You can do it. Believe in yourself. And anything can happen. That is like my biggest advice leaving this podcast today is build your team, build that cheerleader. Even if it's I remember like one of my closest friends telling her I was going to open the spa, and she was like grinning ear to ear. Like she believed I could do it, and I needed to almost hear that from somebody else. So surround yourself with like-minded people, build that dream team. They're out there. People are wanting to work for someone like you. Make sure you build up that story of the why you're building this company, why you need to share your story, why you're creating these products or this brand to share with everyone else. Like there's just so many things that this podcast, that we even do with Beauty Behind the Brand. Like I have totally missed recording these episodes because there is things that come to mind, or I'm like, oh, someone else would be struggling with this. I need to share this story, or I'm not the only one going through this. I need to share this with someone else. So share this episode with someone who is in kind of maybe a lull, like that might be wanting to start a company and isn't really sure, or maybe even someone that kind of feels stuck in their business. Maybe they're like 5 years in and they just don't know if this is what they want to do anymore. It might re-inspire them to keep going and or completely change something that they're doing within their business. So if you like this episode, screenshot and share on your social, tag us. We'd love to hear any reviews, any feedback. If there's any little takeaways within this podcast episode, for example, that you want me to dive in a little bit more, like I was saying with product development, for example, with Muskoka Beauty, let us know. I'd love to do an episode. Even if it's one person that wants it, I'm more than happy to record it. So thank you everyone for all your love and support, and I'll chat to you on the next episode.